Across the state of Wisconsin, I think we are at a really important space and time around this issue of making sure that we value the value of science and value our environment and leave our grandkids a great future. So glad to be here, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Governor, specifically on conservation, given the stress that many farmers are under and the concerns about agriculture and groundwater contamination, are we setting ourselves up for a conflict between conservation and agriculture?
Oh, I don't think so. It's been my observation talking to farmers. They're as concerned about the future of the land as much as we are. Certainly, you know, we have to be concerned about, frankly, manure and how it's how we dispose of it. But I sense that the agriculture industry, especially the people that do production farming, are as keen on this issue as we are. I know many of the people I talked to over the last couple of days when we were visiting rural areas that have been flooded. Those farmers understand the importance of making sure that their farming practices are good because these severe weather events are happening more and more often. So I think I'm not concerned about there being a trade-off here between the agricultural industry and environmentalists. I think they're together. And our first, I'd say our first and probably most important people that cared about the environment were our farmers as the state has been found and looked at. So I think we're in a good place there.
Regarding the PSC appointment, is there any reluctance on your part to act too quickly, since we don't know what the appeals court is going to do, that if you appoint someone and then the appeals court reinstates Ellen Nowak, you've got a little bit of confusion about who's on the commission?
Yeah, we're great question. We're looking at that. That won't be the most defining piece of the decision whether we replace her or not, but it is an issue because there are several issues that are coming in front of the PSC that need resolution.
Governor, the broader legal battle that is unfolding right now over these Republican lame duck laws, what sort of an impact is that having on your office, on state government? Is it dampening any of the workings of state government in terms of just having that cloud sort of hanging over agencies and over your office and the legislature?
The answer generally no. Okay. I mean, we still do what we do every day, and we're working hard to quickly replace people in those positions, especially those boards that are meeting. There are some boards that haven't met for a long time, so we don't have to worry about that. But we want to make sure that we have quorums and in some of these advisory councils, and so we're trying to fill those positions. It certainly makes things more complex, but I can tell you that we'll take that complexity and have more wins in the judicial branch any day of the week, because the lame duck laws were wrong. And in order to correct that wrong, yeah, it makes our lives a little more complex, but that's a small price to pay.
Do you have a time frame for announcing those appointments, or are you waiting?
Yeah, not necessarily. There's a bunch of them, and so we're figuring out which ones, especially some of those small committees that deal with professional standards and things like that need to meet in order to get something accomplished in X amount of time. Those we're looking at first for replacing, and maybe even replacing with the people that existed in those positions.
Time for 2 more questions.
According to the LRB, the gas tax will be raised up to 10 cents by 2021. Are you concerned that there's going to be pushback on that from Republicans?
Well, that wasn't a hidden thing. Believe me, we always believed that the tax gas needed to be or not always, since the budget, the development. And so 8 cents a gallon was where we started out with, but we also indexed it right from the beginning. That's the way it used to be, and that's the way we want it to be in the future. So no, I don't think we're going to get any more pushback because of that than what we're doing now. the bottom line is people know that we need resources for our transportation system, and they know that those resources have to come from someplace. We can't borrow it. And so we propose a budget that will have the lowest amount of borrowing in a long, long time, and it will fix the roads and give money, more importantly, give a lot of money to the municipalities to fix their roads.
Last question
Governor,
here.
given everything that's happened, what is the lines of communication like between you and the Republican legislative leadership? Have you
Well-
met with them recently? Have any of your top deputies?
I think, I know I have not talked to the Speaker or the Majority Leader any time recently, but I know our staff have been involved communicating with them. So I think that communication is still open, and I know we have some, I think, meetings planned in the future, but so I think it's working. It's working as good as it can, but under no circumstances are we not communicating with them. I
So
know
you're
that's-
confident that those lines of communication are adequate, for instance, to reach a compromise on a state budget?
Oh, absolutely. Have to. Part of my DNA. We got to do it. And we have, and I'll also, and not to put a final line in the sand here, but just from my previous job, I know that getting a budget passed before the start of the school year is always extremely important for educators and school boards making decisions. So, do I want it to be done by end of June? Yes, but we can't put all these municipalities and all these school districts in a position of having to guess what the aid will be.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Governor.
Have a good day, folks.